There's one major barrier to eating healthy in the modern world. And it's that we are all busy as hell. You see, there's a very simple formula to eating healthy. Most scientists agree that if we just did this one thing, it would radically transform the health of millions of people worldwide. And here it is. Eat more whole foods and eat less ultra-processed foods. Another word for ultra-processed food in this instance might be convenience foods, because that is what they are and one of the main reasons that we eat them. That and the fact that acquiring the energy units needed to survive has never been quite so tasty. The problem with healthy eating for most people is it takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes effort and planning, and it takes skills. Whereas convenience food is the opposite. It's just too easy. It's 2 taps to take out. So in today's video, we're going to break down how to make healthy eating compete with DoorDash by making it as easy as possible with behavioral science, without relying entirely on meal prep, mainly just because I don't like it that much, but also because it's its own behavior that you'd have to adapt. Now, I started by trying to make this video completely objective, but by the end I had to just rely on a lot of my own tips because it became way too confusing to write otherwise. Also, I mostly focused on dinner for the same reason. Anyway, once you see what we're up against here, you'll see why we could all use a sprinkle of behavioral science on our quest to stick to healthy eating. But first, a quick message from today's video sponsor. This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. Not only is sitting for long periods for some reason extremely unhealthy and linked to tons of different health risks, the potential health benefits of simply standing up at your desk periodically are too good to ignore. And at FlexiSpot, you can upgrade your workspace with a high-quality standing desk at an affordable price. I've had FlexiSpot's Comhar desk for the last 6 months, and I'm loving the sleek glass top and the drawer to store my papers and laptop. FlexiSpot sent me their E7 Pro desk, and I really love it. Not only does it look great, but I'm really impressed with the build quality. My coffee barely moves at all when adjusting the E7 Pro. So you definitely don't need to worry about things shaking and moving around. The E7 Pro has an impressive weight capacity of 440 pounds, and I honestly didn't believe it until it deadlifted 315 like it was butter. I love the freedom of being able to adjust the height of the desk whenever I need to, whether to stand or just for better posture while sitting. And combined with FlexiSpot's C7 ergonomic chair, you can adjust everything until it's perfect for you. FlexiSpot has all kinds of standing desks and ergonomic chairs, so whatever you need, you can build your perfect setup. Click the link below and use my promo code Kiana Docherty for $30 off their E7 standing desk series. If you've been considering getting a standing desk, click the link below and check out FlexiSpot today. Use promo code Kiana Docherty. Thanks so much to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. So whole foods are roughly defined as foods that are left close to their natural state. You know, like fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, meats and animal products, beans and lentils, whole grains, etc. At the most basic, uncontroversial level, eating more of these equals better health. And I know some people are already objecting to the idea of some of these foods being on the list. But at the end of the day, step 1 is just eat more whole foods. And nitpicking beyond that is well beyond the scope of this video. So these items are among the healthiest in the grocery store, but there's one problem. In most cases, they're not quite meals yet, they're just ingredients. And they have to be washed, chopped, prepped, seasoned, and then cooked, and then cleaned up after. And you not only need to have these in stock at home, but then you need to know what to do with them. You need to know what to cook and how to cook it. And in order to actually get the health benefits, you have to do this every single week, pretty well every single day until the day that you die. And all that effort just to put dinner on the table once then has to compete with the wild world of convenience foods. Convenience foods are just as they sound. The USDA defines them as types of foods that save time in food buying, prepping, and cleanup. It's your fast food on the way home from work and DoorDash ordered to your doorstep, of course, but also ready-to-eat foods and snacks from grocery stores, meal-in-a-box processed meals and sides, like cereal, mac and cheese, and frozen foods you can just pop in the oven. You know, like lasagnas, pizzas, chicken nuggets, and that whole category of foods you could just throw in the microwave whenever you want a quick meal. Not to mention snacking. More people than ever are choosing to snack rather than having proper meals. Unfortunately, the food industry hasn't quite figured out how to make most of these foods healthy, and they are almost always loaded with excessive sugars, oils, and salts, while being way higher in calories and lower in nutrients than their homemade counterparts. Not to mention that for some reason these foods seem to be linked to more and more health issues every single week. Yet they continue to win a spot on our dinner tables thanks to the fact that we are busy and they are easy. According to a recent poll by Frito-Lay, only 20% of Americans cook every single day, with 44% of Americans admitting that they felt they were too busy to cook. And the average American reported having only 52 minutes total per day spread across all meals to prepare, eat, and enjoy their meals. As a result, Frito-Lay is predicting / hoping that no prep dinners and dinners rooted in America's favorite snack meals will become popular in the next year. And here's the crazy part. Now, according to behavioral science, being busy actually changes the way your brain makes decisions. And I know some of you are probably thinking, lady, are you gonna get to the freaking tips or what? But I have to tell you this first, okay? It'll be quick. So as you already may know, our brains are already biased toward laziness and the fastest, easiest, tastiest foods possible. But the more stressed, tired, and overworked we are, the more this is true. And the less overall willpower we have to resist the siren song of food delivery apps. Now, when you're choosing between Uber Eats and making a home-cooked meal, your brain actually tries to calculate which one makes more sense in that moment based on your needs. It takes into consideration things like how tasty and rewarding each meal might be, the amount of time both will take, and the amount of energy and effort you'll have to expend to acquire each meal. It's essentially about reward value, energy, and time. And based on this simple calculation here, well, home cooking loses that battle almost every single time. Unless we try to beat convenience foods at their own game by using behavioral science principles to make healthy home-cooked meals tasty, fast, and easy. Reward value, time, effort. Why tasty, fast, and easy? Finding healthy food to cook at home that abides by these 3 principles will help you succeed in the long term at sticking with cooking real food when life gets hectic. A, tasty, because duh, no one wants to eat flavorless, gross food. The food you make at home actually has to taste good or you're not going to want to stick with it. We are driven to pursue pleasure and we can use this to our advantage. If your home, healthy, whole foods-based cooking tastes just as good, if not better, than what you can get on your commute home from work, you're way more likely to stick with it for life. Because delicious tasting food acts as a natural reward. And when a behavior is rewarded, it's more likely to be repeated. So tasty food is a key component of changing your eating habits for the better. Be fast, because you're competing with 2 phone taps and the immediate gratification of food being delivered to your freaking doorstep. Our caveman ancestors probably would have exploded with such convenient access to a hot meal. So if we want healthy food to compete with takeout every single night of the week, we need to start with a game plan that allows us to have food ready quickly and easily. See, easy. Easy is about net energy expenditure, but also simplicity. Home-cooked meals take at least a little bit of planning and forethought. You not only have to have the chicken defrosted, but you have to have a plan for that chicken. The more difficult it feels to cook a home-cooked meal after work, the more likely you are to say, "F it, I'm eating a frozen pizza." So our framework to eat healthily when we're busy also has to include a plan that reduces the amount of thinking and effort that goes into healthy eating. So finally, let's get started. Tips. Number 1, start with the healthy food you actually like. To achieve our goal of getting more whole foods in and convenience foods out, we'll start with finding healthy meals that we love. And probably the easiest place to start with this is to think about the raw ingredients that you like best. Choose your favorite protein sources, fruits and vegetables, and complex, unrefined carbohydrates. These are now your staple groceries and we can try and create meals around them. Choosing what healthy whole foods you like best first makes healthy eating less overwhelming, i.e. if you know your faves are chicken, steak, broccoli, and cabbage, you now have a place to start as opposed to having to think about every single food in the grocery store. Plus, only choosing staples that you really like makes you more likely to eat them and reduces the likelihood that you'll have aspirational veggies rotting away in your crisper or taking up space in your freezer. And if you're using ingredients that repeat throughout your recipes, you're less likely to waste food in general. These foods that you'll choose here will become your staple ingredients, and next we'll find your staple recipes. Tip number 2, find staple recipes for weeknights. We're of course looking for recipes that are simple, fast, easy, delicious, real food-based recipes that you'd be happy to repeat over and over again. Now, for a meal you cook to be considered convenient, it should have limited steps, quick preparation time, a shortish list of ingredients, and bonus points if you don't have to stand in front of it the entire time you're making it. Now, to me, the 2 most important things that I'm looking for in a dinner recipe are a substantial protein source and veggies with an optional unrefined carb source, which puts the recipes that I'm looking for roughly into 3 categories. Meats and side dishes like chicken and rice or steak and veggies, bowls and salads. These types of meals lend really well to being super nutrient dense and usually only require quickly cooking up a protein source. Then you can just dump a bunch of already prepared or minimal preparation veggies and other things into a bowl, maybe topping it with a Greek yogurt sauce or pre-made salad dressing, and then just calling that a meal. Cravings, which are healthy / lazy remix of things I might want to order. For example, I've been eating a lot of beef and broccoli lately, but these are just my categories. There's tons of different categories anyone could have depending on your preferences and your goals. Crock pot meals, sheet pan dinners, no-cook recipes, soups, and sandwiches. Depending on your preferences, you can use these categories combined with your raw ingredients to help you search for healthy meals you'll enjoy on Pinterest or Google, rather than just looking up healthy recipes, which might take forever to find something that fits the bill for you. And the key here being, because we're focused on eating healthy while we're super busy, is to find some super lazy options. I'm not only talking minimal time spent preparing, but minimal steps too. Minimal dishes to clean. We're looking for recipes that are easy to execute on when you have no energy. If you can build up a list of just even 10 ultra lazy but healthy weeknight meals that you love, it's going to go a long way with helping you stick to healthy eating when you're short on time. Then on weekends, when you have more time and energy, it's easy to experiment and try and find things that you can add to your list. And again, remember, it's important that the list you come up with should be made up of meals you really enjoy and will gravitate towards when considering takeout. Tip number 3, make a menu and keep it visible. Next, once you know what you want to eat, create a menu for the week or however often you go to the grocery store and keep it somewhere visible. Creating a menu in advance makes everything about healthy eating easier, from doing the groceries to cooking the meal. And I know we said we wanted a list of 10 recipes in total, but for your weekly menu, less is more. If you can repeat the same meal once or twice, that's going to save you a lot of physical and mental energy. Cooking every night of the week not only takes physical labor, but mental bandwidth. By making a plan for your food when time and energy are less scarce, such as on the weekend, you're saving yourself from having to make food decisions when you're fatigued and frazzled later in the week. This makes it way less likely that you'll make an impulsive choice in the moment, and much easier to make decisions in line with your goal of eating healthy. You're most vulnerable to ordering takeout when it's Thursday at 7 p.m. You just got home, you're hungry, and you haven't even thought about what to make for dinner yet. So try to avoid this scenario as much as possible. Making food decisions in advance is key. Having a plan is a prerequisite for sticking with the plan. Then by posting the menu you create somewhere visible, such as on your fridge, you're further reducing the time and energy it takes to think about what you're going to cook that night. You're removing that extra little bit of friction from the cooking process. It's such a small step, but you'd be surprised what that little bit of friction removal does to your motivation to stick with your plans. Tip number 4, the semi-prep. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not super into meal prep because I find the idea of eating a meal that I made on Sunday on Friday extremely unappetizing. Whenever I've tried a full-out meal prep, I've just ended up wasting money and not eating the food that I made. And for some people, having a day to not meal prep, but just prep your ingredients instead, such as washing and cutting all your vegetables on Sunday, works really well. Now, I tried to do that, but I found that I would have an unpredictable Sunday, and then I wouldn't end up having the time to do it, and then I would be screwed all week. I do think that the full meal prep or like the cutting up your stuff in advance one I just talked about, I do think that those can be really good for people, depending on your preferences, so long as you're able to make a habit out of taking that time to prep all that stuff for the week. I've found the truly laziest option to be what I call the semi-prep, which is finding ways to save yourself time as you go by doubling up labor wherever you can. As a few examples, I don't often meal prep entire meals, but if I do make something that reheats well and that I would want to eat for another meal, I'll make a big enough batch to be used again as dinner the next day or as a lunch or something. I also tend to eat the same 2 carbs over and over again, rice and potatoes. Carbs like these taste identical when reheated. By keeping cooked versions of them in the fridge, they can just be tossed in the microwave or air fryer, and then you have a healthy side ready to go in just a few minutes. Pretty sure this also applies to like every carb in existence. They taste as if you made them that day if you make them before. And as a little bonus, many of them turn into resistant starch when you pop them in the fridge. Next, since you're repeating ingredients, do enough chopping for multiple meals at once, i.e. if you're making broccoli, don't just cut what you need for that day, chop the whole head of broccoli or all the broccoli you purchased at once. You can also cut additional vegetables for future meals that have nothing to do with the meal you're currently making while you have the cutting board out and you're already designating time to chopping. Even though you're chopping the same amount of vegetables in total, doing it all at once saves you the steps, time, and dishes on a future day, while just taking a few extra minutes on the day you're already doing it. You can apply this type of thinking in other ways too. Because I repeat my meals, I'll often season meat of all the same type at once, then only cook what I need and then cook the other part later. That way I don't have to eat reheated chicken breast, which is my least favorite flavor in the world, but I only have to do the prep work once, and then when it comes to the day that I'm going to eat it, I can just pop it in the pan or the air fryer and it's good to go. Tip number 5, find convenient veggies to have on hand. A tip to ensure ensure you eat your vegetables at every meal is to find and keep on hand the most convenient vegetables possible. Some things that make vegetables not convenient are they have a short shelf life and therefore need to be replaced often or can go bad on you. They need to be chopped and they need to be cooked. So finding some vegetables that are none of the above helps keep them on the plate when you haven't done groceries or you're just throwing together like a quick lunch or whatever. So to address the short shelf life problem, find some frozen veggies you like a lot. Again, it's important that you really enjoy them because it's pointless to buy them and then throw them in the freezer and never think about them again. I'm a person who loves vegetables, but once you put them in the freezer and they turn all like kind of like soggy and wet, I tend not to gravitate toward them. But there are some great ones, such as edamame, which I don't think I've ever eaten fresh. They don't change in the freezer, are high in protein, and can be eaten 2 different ways. Cauliflower or broccoli, I actually like the taste of kind of soggy, and they sometimes come in freezer bags meant to be steamed, making them a 5-minute side dish and ultra convenient. This mixed veggie bag cooked with onions is one of my favorite veggie side dishes and requires nothing more than being dumped in the pan. These are just my examples, but really the point is just to find the frozen veggies that you're actually willing to eat. Next, finding some raw veggies to keep on hand, such as baby carrots, cherry tomatoes, or even cucumber that take 0 prep is such a hack. I like pickled vegetables for the same reason. Plus, they have the added benefit of being able to be kept in your fridge for like a really long time without going bad. You can keep things like pickled beets, green beans, and onions, or fermented pickles and kimchi in the fridge as a veggie side dish that can be added to any meal. That way, if you really don't feel like cooking, you can still always find a way to eat your greens. Since I've been doing this, I find I eat way more veggies in general because I always have something that I can just throw on my plate, and it really does make a big difference. Cabbage is another awesome convenient option. Rather than buying a whole head of cabbage, you can grab a pre-sliced coleslaw bag. Its mild flavor and crunchy texture make it work well with a ton of different types of meals. And to cook, it literally just needs to be dumped into a pan with a little oil or butter, pushed around occasionally so it doesn't burn, then splashed with apple cider vinegar and salt and pepper. Bagged salad kits can also be great, although sometimes you have to watch out for the added ingredients depending on your goals. But there are plenty of them that are just pre-prepped veggies in a bag. And of course, if you don't mind paying a little extra, most grocery stores have pre-chopped veggies available to save you time. Tip number 6, find your fast proteins. Some protein sources are just more convenient than others, and I can't tell you what to pick because I'm not you, I don't know what you like, but here's some of my versions. My fastest proteins are cut up chicken breast, takes 10 minutes in the pan as opposed to 25 minutes in the oven, Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, eggs, steak of any kind takes 8 minutes in total. Steak plus a vegetable is one of the fastest, easiest meals you can make. Frozen fish can usually just be thrown into the oven. If you like tuna or canned chicken breast, that could work great too. Shrimp can be thawed in 10 minutes under running water and takes 2 minutes on the stovetop. Canned beans last forever and can be cooked up in minutes if you know how to make them. Ground beef or ground turkey are some of the fastest proteins around, and these have the added benefit of tasting the exact same when reheated. I personally eat a ton of ground turkey just because it's the one meat that like reheats really well. So finding some reheatable proteins depending on your preferences can definitely be a hack. As you can see, this is a very biased list toward what I do. Tip number 7, have your backup takeout plan. Now, despite all this, there's still gonna be times when you say, it, I'm getting takeout. Now, it's not that you can't order takeout, obviously, but I feel like the goal is to order it because you're craving it and not because you're impulsively ordering it because you're too tired that day. Knowing the healthy takeout options in your area and then having a few different order options available to you will help you make good choices when you're busy and hungry. The biggest things to look out for are typically excess oils, sugars, and sometimes the insane calories that come with even what looks to be a healthy meal on paper. Chicken and rice could be a healthy meal, say, or it could be an insane amount of calories with parboiled rice fried in oil and sugar coating the chicken. It's really hard to tell just by the names of things, so you want to learn who you can trust. In my area, I have 3 places that I feel like I can at least guess everything that goes into the food. A chicken and rice place owned by a fitness guy. This guy uses Greek yogurt in his sauces, and I trust that he's not dumping oil and sugar into things. A poke place that gives you brown rice and veggies and the option to do the sauce on the side, and a few burrito and pita places that allow you to customize your order and have mostly whole food based sides. These options are pretty well just as good as me making it myself health and calorie wise, and knowing what options are available to you in advance is really helpful for those moments when you're just like, no, I'm definitely ordering takeout. And again, like I said, it's not about never ordering the unhealthy option, it's just the point of the video was to be healthy. So also, don't forget about the humble rotisserie and bagged salad combo, always there for you when you need it. Tip number 8, beware of the snack. Now, I know I said this list is mostly about dinner, but I feel like I had to mention the snack because as the Frito-Lay survey suggested, more and more people are getting the bulk, maybe not the bulk, but like a decent chunk of their daily calories from snacks. Therefore, having whole food-based snacks on hand is one of the best things that you can do for your goal of healthy eating. Those stats I gave at the beginning about people not cooking, yeah, they were provided by Frito-Lay's annual snack index. The food industry is literally hoping you'll stop making your food at home and start eating their prepackaged foods instead. If you like this video and want more videos about making healthier choices and taking more control of your habits, check out this playlist. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. And thanks again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. Click the link below and use promo code Kiana Docherty for $30 off the E7 Standing Desk series.